Hello everyone, this is Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Detective D, The Four Heavenly Kings, a Chinese film from 2018 that was directed by Tsui Hark. It is the third film in this Detective D series, and I have already reviewed the other two films on my channel, Detective D, Mystery of the Phantom Flame, and Young Detective D, Rise of the Sea Dragon, and enjoyed them very much. And I'm happy to report that I also enjoyed The Four Heavenly Kings, which is a prequel to The Phantom Flame, but a sequel to Rise of the Sea Dragon. Now this trilogy is set basically in the 7th century, I believe. At the beginning of The Four Heavenly Kings, the Empress is jealous that the king gave Detective D the dragon-taming mace for his invaluable services. Now this mace is a powerful weapon and an important symbol of power, so the Empress worries that it will one day be used to strike against her. So she sets into motion a plan to have it stolen from Detective D. So she hires a few assassins who have some pretty crazy weaponry and magical powers. And then she even coerces D's buddy Yuchi into helping her. But there's an even greater threat on the horizon that the Empress may be overlooking. Now, The Four Heavenly Kings has many of the same positive attributes of its predecessors. The pacing, I think, is very brisk, wastes very little time getting into the thick of things. The story flows well, and the movie actually feels shorter than its runtime of over 2 full hours. The characters are interesting and well acted, and some of the same actors from Rise of the Sea Dragon return to reprise their roles here. Production values are solid, and there's some cool set designs. The action is also quite creative, I think. It's entertaining and peppered throughout the runtime nicely. Like, we quickly get an entertaining chase fight near the beginning involving poison gases and other fun stuff. There's another cool fight scene involving 2 huge, like, boomerang-like blades that I thought was pretty entertaining as well. And then there's a wizard dude, pretty awesome wizard dude, I must say, that shows up a little later in the film that I liked quite a bit. And in general, the wire work is good. One thing, though, that distinguishes The Four Heavenly Kings from its predecessors is that it seems to emphasize sorcery and magic to a greater degree, and de-emphasizes the murder mystery elements that were a little bit more pronounced in the prior 2 films. Some online reviews seem to have a problem with this, but I actually kind of liked it. You know, the presence of sorcery creates the potential for some fun and unorthodox attacks by the villains, and we do get some of those here. There are some really whacked out scenes in this film that play out almost like hallucinations. You feel like you're hallucinating sometimes, and they're kind of delightfully trippy. This feels more like a fantasy than its predecessors, and I'm fine with that. But there are a few things that I have a problem with, or a slight problem with in this. Some of the trickery in this film and deception seems to be referenced by the characters as being of a natural cause at times, but it also seems to be the product of sorcery, kind of at the same time. I was a little bit confused by this, because there's really no way that some of these attacks could have been caused by only natural means. You know, that would require a suspension of disbelief by the viewer that is far too unreasonable, I think. There's a chance that this problem or confusion could be cleared up after a repeat viewing, since I've just watched the film one time. But after one viewing, I found myself a little bit perplexed by that element of the film. Like, what exactly is caused by the sorcery, and which of it was just like acts of deception and psychological like manipulation, you know what I mean? Perhaps the natural causation explanation angle was kind of tossed in by the filmmakers to get approval from the Chinese film censors. You know, so that is a possibility as well. The other thing I noticed is that there is quite a bit of CGI here. You know, some of the other Detective D films have had their share of CGI as well. This one kind of goes pretty over the top with some of its CGI effects. So much so that I think it's a bit too much at times. But since the fights are properly choreographed, you know, they're well constructed, and there's some pretty creative stuff here, you know, I was ultimately okay with it. But I do hope that they take it down a notch if there's another installment to this franchise. And, you know, if there is another installment, I'm definitely looking forward to it, because I have all 3 now in my collection, and, I definitely will return to all three of them for repeat viewings in the future, including this one. So overall, I would say that Detective Dee, The Four Heavenly Kings is another entertaining film in this franchise. And it's certainly a nice bounce-back project for Tsui Hark after that Journey to the West, The Demons Strike Back film, which I greatly disliked. But The Four Heavenly Kings is currently available on DVD and Blu-ray in the United States, as well as Amazon streaming. So, hey, if you like the prior films, check this one out. If you haven't seen any of them, check the first one out. If you like it, then watch the rest. And as always, we'll see you next time.